Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. If this is your first time here, a special hello just for you. My name is Jody. I love watches. I suspect you also love watches. If that's the case, perhaps you'd like to subscribe to the channel by hitting the big button that says subscribe on it. Now, this is my first top 10 price-based roundup video that I've made in ages. This one though has been a long time coming. I've been thinking about it for months. Initially, I thought I could squeeze top 10 divers under $300. Then that blew out to $500. Finally, I settled on $400 US or less, sometimes a lot less. They actually start at around $165 today. Now, the unofficial motto of this channel is you don't have to spend a fortune if you don't want to get a great watch on your wrist. And I think this list proves that in no uncertain terms today. Now, I have had direct hands-on reviewing experience with 8 out of the 10, and the other 2 I'm going to try and get in between now and Christmas. So I'm not just popping up pretty pictures and telling you the watches are great. I wholeheartedly recommend all 10 of these to you. Now, I'll leave links in the description of the video to where I think you should start your quest for the best prices. Some on Amazon, some on eBay, some manufactured direct. Some I'm going to be very specific about when and where I think you should buy them. Some of them, you can't even buy them at all at the moment. You're going to have to exercise a little bit of patience, but I promise you it's worth it. And I think there's a fair spread of different watches here, as I said, from about 165 to 400. I've got some big brands, Seiko and Orient. There's some Swiss made, there's a titanium watch, there's some micro brands, and there's a couple of value packed homages as well. One watch that won't be featuring on today's list is the Seiko SKX. Don't hit me, don't hit me. I know it's a good watch, I've got one myself, but the prices at the moment are astronomical, and I think there's better value to be had elsewhere, as I'll demonstrate. Alright Jody, enough waffle, let's get on with the roundup. So these 10 are in no particular order today. As I said, I recommend them all to you wholeheartedly. May as well start with the watch that's on my wrist though. It's the Seiko Samurai. The Seiko Samurai, like all the others today, has a certain set of matching characteristics that make it a dive watch. Screw down crown, at least 200 meters of water resistance, unidirectional rotating dive time bezel, and a decent amount of lume. Now, like all the watches on the list today, it's an automatic. Personally, I'm not particularly into solars, eco drives, kinetics or quartz at this price. There are a ton of great autos available, so that's what my list is filled with today. And I must admit, I do like the Samurai. I've reviewed everything from the Monster to the SKX and everything in between from the Seiko catalogue. Samurai stands out for me for a number of reasons. There's not a lot of value to be had from Seikos at this price. There are deficiencies such as the Hardlex crystal and, ta-da, that cheap pressed clasp. But the Sam, I think, does not bad for itself. It's a chunky big thing at 44mm, but a compact lug-to-lug means it wears rather well. It does have extra features like a diver's extension there and solid end links that I think just puts it a cut above some of the other Seiko dive options at this price. Now, design-wise, I think it's a handsome big thing. Classic handset, hence the Samurai. They look like samurai swords there. Super, super legible. I've reviewed one and then I bought this orange one for myself. Now, the movement in this is the 4R35, also known as the NH35. It's a hacking and hand winding Seiko in-house made movement, obviously. Pretty good entry-level movement. You'll find it in most of the watches today, frankly. So if you're a slightly bigger guy with slightly bigger wrists, like a slightly bigger watch, the Samurai weighs in at about 175 grams. Definitely a good place to start. At number 2, I'm actually going to give you 3 watches for the price of one. I'm cheating already, but you can't buy them. You're going to have to exercise a little bit of patience if you want to pick yourself up one of these, but I think it is well worth your while. My recommendation is any watch by Helm. Now, Helm are the first of the micro brands on today's list, and they make watches in very small quantities, hence the reason why they're all out of stock at the moment. Kuraburi, Komodo and Vanuatu. Vanuatu is my favourite. I still rate it as the best watch under $300 US. Next crop of these seems to be available next month, that being September 2019. So send Matt the owner an email, get on a waiting list. I promise you, you will not be disappointed by any of these. I think especially the Vanuatu. It really is a great looking tool diver. The Kuraburi is a bit more cartoonish. Look at the size of those indices. It's very well spec'd though, with a domed sapphire crystal and a sapphire bezel insert. The lume on both of these watches, all three of these watches, is outrageous, and they're just so well manufactured. The Komodo was my least favourite of the three, but it's still an outstanding watch. Look at how well that watch is machined. For a 40mm though, it just wears a little bit too big and heavy. All of these watches are 200 to 225 grams, so do bear that in mind. I've got a couple of watches that are smaller and lighter elsewhere on the list today. The Vanuatu though, such a clean, legible design, quite a lot of zin in it, great bracelet clasp, proper screw lengths, just so overbuilt. I kept using that word when I reviewed it, overbuilt. Similarly, the Kurapuri is overbuilt as well. Big, chunky looking thing. No parts used between the two watches, they're all different. Crown down at 4 o'clock on the Kurapuri as well. Another point of difference, aligning it visually with some Seiko watches. Now, all of these watches feature the Seiko NH35 movement, exactly the same one as was featured in the Samurai just a minute ago. Again, big chunky bracelet on this Kurapuri. The Komodo may be a smaller watch, but it's still quite heavy, and I thought that the lug positioning, the drilled lug positioning, meant that this one didn't really sit all that well on a canvas strap or a rubber strap. If you do want to lose a bit of weight though, those are options from Helm, and they're all high quality. I cannot stress enough how high quality these are for the money, so get on the waiting list. If for some reason you don't like it, someone else will take it off your hands on eBay in seconds. They are hot property, these Helms. At number 3, it's the first of the two watches that I don't have any hands-on experience with, but you can bet your bottom dollar that I'm going to have one of these in the house before Christmas. It's the brand new Orient Kamasu. So I'm suggesting you look at Joma Shop for these Kamasus. I think their prices are very attractive, $209 here. Now they have mislabeled this one as a Mako 3. These ones have been out about 9 months, and when they came out people were calling them the Mako 3, but the Mako 3 is a different watch. As you can see here, the Mako 3 is a little bit cheaper. The crucial difference for me though is the older watch, the Mako 3, features mineral crystal. The Kamasu on the other hand, identifiable by that very distinct arrowhead hour hand with a little clip out the back of it and those indents on the bezel at the 5 minutes. It features sapphire crystal. That really is the big upgrade from previous generations of Orient diver at $200 to this one. And I think it's a good looking watch as well. There's a green dial version here. That's probably the one that I'll be picking up from Joma Shop towards the end of the year. There's also a rather handsome, if slightly conservative looking black dial one. There is a red dial one as well. All of them feature the same Orient F6922 in-house caliber. That's an automatic 22 jewel hacking and hand winding movement with day-date complication and a 40-hour power reserve. All 42mm with 22mm lug width. Couple of flies in the ointment, those being a cheap press clasp and hollow end links, but I still think plenty to recommend this one for just around $200. Next up, it's the only Swiss watch on the list today, and one that comes with a very specific set of purchasing instructions. But if you get one of these from the right place at the right time, it could be the big value package on today's list. It's the Glycine Combat Sub. I think that place is drop.com, and that time is when they have them in stock and available for $399. Certainly that's your target price, $400 on the nose for the Glycine Combat Sub. I've been monitoring Drop. They have them roughly every quarter, so roughly every 3 months, and that's been the pattern for the last couple of years. I'd wait, I'd show a bit of patience, and I'd snag one from Drop when they crop up. There's this little facility here. You send a request, they send you an email when they're back in stock. This is the famous GoldenEye model. These always sell like hotcakes. Very handsome watch. Comes with a kind of canvas and calf strap. Personally, I'm a bracelet guy. I'd be going for one of the many options on a bracelet, and there are many options. Some of these combat subs look a bit like the Rolex Submariner. Some of them look a bit like the Tudor Heritage Black Bay. Some of them look like nothing other than a Glycine Combat Sub. They will undoubtedly be a colorway and a dial pattern to tickle your fancy. All of them feature the ETA 2824 Swiss-made hacking and hand winding high beat 4Hz automatic movement. You get that nice smooth sweep of the second hand with an ETA 2824, and it's a nice slim movement. Now these are quite large watches at 42mm in diameter, but they wear very well on wrist because the 2824 is a slim movement. They all feature sapphire crystal, and the bracelets are well made with solid links, solid end links, and a proper milled clasp.
cost. Now, I have borrowed one from a friend of mine, Ashley. I'm going to work on the video over the next few weeks or so, and I've been impressed with what I've seen so far. It wears very well on wrist. No real weaknesses with this one. I guess the only potential problem with a Glycine combat sub is that they were bought out by Invicta a couple of years ago, and that has slightly tarnished the Glycine name. It's a rich and proud heritage with Glycine. They've been making watches for 100 years. Some really innovative models such as the Airman in the company's history. Glycine fanboys weren't happy when they were bought out by Invicta, but I don't think it's affected the quality at all. I can't see Glycine going back in and remachining all the tools that make these watches and somehow diminishing the quality. It just wouldn't make any sense. A very solid choice for $400, the only Swiss watch on today's list.
At number 5, it's the first Homage, and it's probably the watch that you can buy today that offers the best bang per buck of all. It's the Phoebus PY007.
Now, I have reviewed a ton of Phoebi? Anyway, I've reviewed a ton of them, and the one that I keep coming back to is this one, the PY007. It really does hit a sweet spot. You can buy them all day long on the Phoebus website for $299 US. Now, I know what you're thinking, Jody, this is just another bloody Rolex Submariner homage. And yes, it is, but I think it's the one that really hits that sweet spot in terms of specs. It's sapphire crystal with some decent AR. That's a fully loomed ceramic bezel insert. There's a Miyota 9015 high beat automatic movement in the back of it, all stainless steel construction and a decent bracelet. There is a reason that these things are common as muck, and it's because they wear beautifully. They're not too thick, they're not too thin, they're not too heavy, they're not too light. You can wear them with a suit Monday to Friday, you can rock them with jeans and t-shirt down the beach at the weekend. No problem at all, they're just so versatile. Now this one has the Phoebus logo on the dial, the crown, the case back. It doesn't have a Cyclops as well, enough little touches that you're not just wearing a Rolex wannabe. And a fully loomed ceramic bezel insert, great BGW9 in this one. You will not be disappointed by the loom on the Phoebus, a good all-round watch.
At number 6, we've had a Seiko. Now I'm going to suggest a Seiko Homage. A 6105 Homage, no less. Any 6105 Homage.
And there are plenty of them to choose from. I suggest you start on eBay looking for one of these. Just type in 6105 and you'll see what I mean. As far as I'm aware, as far as I'm concerned, they all come out of the same Chinese factory. Whether they've got Sharkey, Heimdaller, 54 watches, Mercure or whatever on the dial, they're all the same watch. And they're all based on the Seiko 6105 from the late 1960s, early 1970s. Famously worn by Captain Willard in Apocalypse Now. They were worn by a lot of soldiers in Vietnam because of their durability and reliability. They're one of these watches that just disappear when you get them on your wrist. I reviewed one by German company Bombfrog a while ago, and I bought a Mercure one recently. The Mercure one I like a lot. They've taken the 6105 case, but they've modernised the looks of it. As I said, there's a whole bunch of them, starting from about $165. You pick the colour, the design, the brand that you like, it's all the same. They're all got sapphire crystal, screw down crowns, 200 meters water resistance, and the Seiko NH35 in the back of them. They wear so well due to a compact lug to lug and a great case shape that merges with your wrist. Lots of smooth edges. It's a lovely watch to wear long term. Very, very comfortable indeed. So find the one that's right for you. Don't worry about the brand name on the dial. They're all the bloody same.
At number 7, it's another watch that you can't actually buy at the moment, but again one that I think should be on your radar if you're looking to pick up a diver over the next couple of months. It's the Hamtun Kraken, and it's made of titanium.
So the Hamtun Kraken today shows that even exotic materials are within your reach on a relatively meagre budget of $400 US. Now these are on pre-order at the moment. I believe they're shipping in November 2019. You can still pick up any of the dial colours. I'd be heading for the black, the white, or perhaps the meteorite. I think that would go with the exotic materials. If you're thinking Seiko SKX but made of titanium, you are certainly thinking along the right lines. I reviewed this one maybe about 6 months ago and I thought it was great. Now titanium does scratch more easily than stainless steel normally. However, this titanium is coated so it should last well over time. As you saw there, 129 grams, that's probably about 20 to 30 grams lighter than the equivalent stainless steel dive watch. Around the same size. I thought the Kraken was well made, I thought it was legible, it has the convenience of a date down there at 4 in line with the crown. Generally I was very impressed with this one when I reviewed it. So if you want something from a micro brand that's a bit left field for your budget, this should be on your list.
At number 8, if you like the look of the Seiko Samurai but fancy the specs and value and exclusivity on offer by micro brands, you should be looking at the Zelos Swordfish.
So another micro brand, I'm a big fan of the Swordfish in particular and Zelos in general. I think they do some great watches, all edgy, modern designs, all quite unique, and they've got a bit of a cult following. All the micro brands I've shown you today will hold up very well in terms of resale value. You can't say that of all micros, but these ones have all got that little bit of something that means they trade very well if you do change your mind and decide to sell it. So these Swordfish, again, small batches of them are made, only a couple of hundred. They're individually numbered, starting from $299 US. Today's budget of $400, however, will stretch that gorgeous forged carbon dial. Again, exotic materials, if you're prepared to look around, are available for a relatively modest sum. Again, Zelos, very well made, very well manufactured, very similar to Helm in that respect. The machining is of a certain quality. Again, the Swordfish that are in budget today are Seiko NH35 powered, no surprises there. Great loom on these Swordfish as well, also highly recommended.
At number 9 is the second of the Seikos on today's list. If you're a big guy with big wrists who likes a big watch, go for the Samurai. If you don't have as big wrists but you still like a big watch, go for the Mini Turtle instead.
I think the Mini Turtle is in some ways the unsung hero of the Seiko dive watch range under 500 US. It was launched a couple of years ago and it hasn't really taken off, I don't think, which is a bit of a shame. I think it deserves to. It's got that cushion case style like the bigger Turtle and like the 6105, but it's got a super short lug to lug. So if you like a big watch but your wrist won't really accommodate a big watch, this one will be no problems at all for you. Now check eBay, check Amazon, check your local shops, check online retailers everywhere. You're going to have to dig around a little bit for a good price on these Mini Turtles. They are a little bit more expensive. You should be looking at low 300s, I think, for one on a bracelet, and I'd be definitely going for the bracelet. Bracelet, very similar to the one on the Samurai. It's a good quality bracelet with a nice clasp that conforms to the wrist well. The Cyclops on the date complication at 3 o'clock is a little bit dodgy, and it does come with Hardlights Crystal, which is a big failing in my opinion of all Seikos under 500, but it wears like a sweetie, and you won't see too many of them out there, which you can't say of the SKX and other Seiko models.
And finally at number 10, last but not least, it's the second watch that I don't have any hands-on experience with, which is why I shoved it to the back end of the list. But this thing looks like an absolute unit. It's the Orient Triton.
So another watch that I have one eye on and hope to review at some stage is this, the Orient Triton RA-EL0001B. Here we are on eBay and available well under $400 US. I did note that these ones ship from Australia, so perhaps I will pick one up locally. There we are, the little Aussie map there. Now it's a big chunky one here, 43.5mm, 13.6mm thick, 22mm lug width. Screw down crown, 200 meters diver, and it is JIS, Japanese Class 1 diver rated, so a proper dive watch. I'd probably be taking this one or the Samurai diving if I was genuinely going to go diving with one of these. Sapphire crystal on this one though, and the 40N5A Orient in-house caliber automatic movement, 22 dual hacking and hand winding, and a power reserve. It's the only watch today that features an additional complication, not just 3 hands plus date. So if you like your dials with a little something something, perhaps this Orient is the one for you.
So there you have it, top 10 dive watches under $400 US. All of them get 2 thumbs up recommendations. There are strengths and weaknesses to each of them, I'm sure you will agree, but I think there's something to be said about each and every one of those watches on the list. Seiko Homage, if you want one of those 6105 Homages at the bottom end, they're around $165, $175 US. I think they're fantastic watches. At the top end, the Orient Triton and that Glycine Combat Sub. Compelling, Swiss made, well spec'd, ETA 2824, $399 US. I would definitely be setting an alert in mass drop / drop and keeping an eye out for when that comes round again. What else is on there? The Helms, Vanuatu, I still maintain is the best watch under $300 US. If you don't mind something that's 42mm and 200 grams on your wrist, personally it's just a bit too big and heavy for me. I prefer my divers at about 140, 150 grams. If your favourite isn't here, don't get mad. leave me a comment and I'll try and get it in for review. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.